Good morning. Today is February 22, or February 22nd, however you like to call it, 2017. And we have a couple plays in the gapper scanner today that are gapping up that look good to me, especially the one that fit my criteria. Now, obviously, the criteria is low float with a catalyst. And gapping up, but it's not it's not gapping up like 100% or with like super high volume. It's just gapping up over 3%. I like to look for things that are gapping up like 3 to 25%. I think that's usually good because there's still more room to run, rather than looking for plays that are 50% or 100% up, because that means that they already made that move pre-market. Now, once the market opens, it's just going to be crowded. So, what are we looking at today? The first thing that popped up to me was CUR. This had a previous runs in just one there was back in January, and then there was a couple good days back in February, or the last week. I think this one was where it went from 317 all the way up to 444. So it does have potential to run. Now today, this morning, it has a float of 8.54 million. This morning there was an issuance of US patent, so they got a new patent relating to one of their technologies. And with the low float and this news, I feel like it does have potential. So what am I looking for on this? Now, it has a high of 387, so I'm obviously looking to get in on the break of 387. If it breaks 387, we get, a potential goal is to get up to 415. That's the previous resistance, and then a break of that, we get a room up to 445. A break of 450, we could have a clear route up to 5, and so on. So obviously, now it has support at 370, which is its 200 moving average is 370, so there could be some support back there. But I would like to see at the open, since there's not much happening pre-market, the volume's only 12,000 pre-market. I feel like as it opens up and it breaks this 387, we could potentially see a nice run up to 4, and then so on. So that's what I'll be watching. This is my main watch. The RSI is perfect as well, just at 57, not overbought, not oversold, just in the middle. So I feel like this does have potential for the market open, so I'll be watching this right out of the gates. Second one we got is SEED, Seed. Now, Seed obviously is another one that had made some moves in the past. This was back in this was March. Or April, sorry. This was back in April. This was back in April. Went from 137 to a high of 248. Since then, it had gone up. It's been a little bit on an uptrend, then it went on a downtrend. Now it gapped up today. So the reason of it gap up is now this has a float of 17.1 million, a little higher in float. Not that it can't run. I think it can still run. But it's not 4 or 5 million shares in float. It's a bit higher, but still under our criteria, which is 20 million. Anything under 20 million I like to look at and trade. So now this one has a biotech collab in corn, so I think it's some sort of consumer, so it's a consumer sector, and it's some sort of collaboration, biotechnology collaboration or something. Again, catalyst, as long as there's a headline out, we don't really have to see what it's about. Some headlines are better than others. Usually if I see collaboration or agreement or issuance of patent or anything like that, usually that's a positive news. So and it did gap up as well, so that shows that people thought it was a positive news. Now we'll like to see what happens as soon as the market opens. If it takes out 230, which is the pre-market high, we could potentially see a move up to 250, which would be the next resistance point, and then break of that we could see move up to the 280 area, and then so on. So it is above its moving averages. There's some support in the 221s and 270s based on the moving average, and 210. So just around that area, it was holding this 2 level past few for past month or so, it's been holding this level, and now it's gapping up. So I think it does have potential. People, will start either buying and start covering, or whatever the situation might be here. It'll probably attract new buyers, so we could potentially see a nice run on this as well. So be keeping this on track. And then the last one is EYEG, yesterday's big percent gainer. As you guys will, if you guys watched yesterday's video, I played it back in the 270s, but it just kind of dropped below, and I ended up stopping out, or I ended up selling, and then it kind of hung around this range, 240 250 range, and once it broke through and went back green on the day, it basically ripped all the way up to 390. So I was early in the play. I was expecting similar move, but I was way early in the play, and I just never got it. So that's okay. So today I'm watching it again. It has some pre-market highs of 380s, and then pre-market support in the 3. So right now it's in the middle. Not looking to get in anywhere in the middle here, because it could potentially just crash. Now it does have a catalyst out from yesterday of a licensing deal, so it does have a positive catalyst, and it has a float of 4.19 million. So I mean, it could definitely run, especially if it doesn't break down, as people will think, and if they're shorting, then we can get another short squeeze. So that's what I'll be watching it to see. I would like to see it dip down to 3 and just hold that level, and then once it holds, and then maybe goes back green on the day, I would look to jump in and then look for a push towards the 380, and then break of that, 390, we could see a run up to 4, break of 4, we could see a run up past that. So anyways, that's all I'm watching for now today. These other two plays, I just kind of have them up. MOSY is more of a chart play. There's not any news, but I feel like if this candle makes a new high, we could potentially see a run up, but just on the back burner, nothing crazy there. So anyways, we'll be back in a bit. There's about 15 minutes left to market open. Alright guys, so the markets are open. We're watching EYEG and CUR right out of the gates here. So EYEG opened at 329. It is dropping at the market open. My plan with CUR is that I'm gonna get in with 200 shares on the break of 387, and then I'll look to add over 415. So that's my goal on that. So we'll just continue watching, and I'll be back. Alright guys, so INAP just got halted on circuit breaker. It should be opening in about couple seconds here. So I'm looking to see if I can play this out of the halt. Would be very fast if I do, but we'll see. Oh, I got a partial position. I just got filled my full position, so we'll see what happens. Okay, I just sold. It didn't take off right away, so I just got out. Oh, I think I sold way too early. I don't know, we'll see what happens here. Yep, I think I sold early. 277 out at 265. See, I would have liked to see this candle basically just rip, but that didn't happen. So I sold. Not too bad. Oh, CUR is coming up. I just broke the pre-market high. So like I said, my plan with this was I don't know, it's acting a little weird. Not a lot of volume coming in, so we'll stay away. So guys, CUR is popped over the 387. The only thing I don't like is there's not much volume right now. I wanted to see like some big volume come in on the break of 387, and it's being a little choppy, and I just I don't feel comfortable taking this trade right now. Especially I just took the INAP trade, right out of the halt. I figured that if you get in at 277, or I wanted to get in basically on the ask. Let me just bring up the chart here. What I wanted to see was a what I wanted to see was a push off I think it's CUR running. What I wanted to see was a push right as soon as it opened below, which was nice to see. I wanted to see a push towards this 303 and past that. If we would have got past 303, it would have been a really nice trade. But good thing I sold. You know, even if I would have held one more candle, my risk could have been worse because it could have just dropped. So once I saw it go red on the candle, and I didn't see enough buyers come in. That means not enough traders were jumping in the trade. That means I'm not on the right side, so I just got out. Although it did go up to 399 or just above 3, I believe it's 303. Yeah, it did go up to test a high at 303, but wasn't what I was looking for. So I sold, and I'm okay with that. So we'll see what happens here. 251, but yeah, CUR is up. EYEG is just kind of being a little choppy as well. Again with CUR, now it's at 398. I mean, there's some volume, but it's still very low volume. I mean, on the day that it went, the volume was 3 million. Right now we're only about 130 some K volume. So I feel like not a lot of traders are looking at this right now, so we'll just be watching. We'll see what happens. Okay, I just got in another 200 at 251 for INAP. I'm putting my stop for this 200 just below the 243 level. It's already down there. We'll put it below 240. I got in at 251. So we have to stop at 240. Right now I obviously don't want to see it come below that. We want to see a push. So the only reason I got in 200 because I'm looking to add over 260. So over the VWAP, I'll add another 200 for a push towards 280 or even 3. But I don't know if we'll get that. Just based on how it's acting right now. We might not be able to get that. Obviously it needs to this candle needs to go green. I got in at 251 for the first 5 minutes to make a new high, but it didn't pop over right away. So now 246 seems to be bringing in some we'll see if 246 gets taken out here. If it doesn't get taken out right away, there you go. We'll basically we want to see it get back over 251. We want to see this candle to go green, get back over to take out 247, take out. It doesn't look like it will. I don't like it. I'm just gonna I didn't need to put that Okay, I sold at 240. That's where my stop was, so I just got out. I was trying to get out at 240, 42, 43, just because I just realized if that 5-minute setup didn't work right away, it's not gonna work. So I just tried getting out. Well, I got in at 250, out at 240, so 10-cent loss there. So good thing I only went with 200 shares. That was my plan. I wanted to add into the play. I didn't want to just jump in with full size. I wanted to scale in over a certain level. So I figured if it gets over 251, breaks this 256, get over the VWAP at 260, I'll look to jump in, add another 200 in the 260s, and then get a push towards 280, and then maybe even 3. But it doesn't look like it will, especially not even right now. So we'll just we'll watch, I guess, for now and see what happens. All right, guys. So I got in INAP here as well in the 240s, and then I was watching it here. Wanted to jump in right here in the 250s, but I kind of hesitated. This perfect consolidation here, and then now it's popping back up. As you guys can see, it's in the it's in the 270s now. So a good 10-minute setup as well. Get in, but it just as soon as it broke 250, it popped right over to 260, and I had my orders ready for 252, and it just didn't get filled. So it's okay. We'll see what happens here. We'll be watching it. I just need to when I jumped in for this this right out of the halt, I need to realize that I don't play this like I don't think I've ever played like out of the halt like this before. It opened below and I jumped in thinking that it'll go back up there, but it wasn't bad. I got out right away as soon as I saw weakness. As soon as I saw I didn't, okay, so I got out. But then me jumping in here on the 5-minute setup wasn't as good, because it just it needed this consolidation. It needed this to consolidate and then pop over, and that's exactly what it did. So we'll be watching it and see what happens here. Now it's like, I'm better off getting in maybe on the break of 303, maybe the break of high of day, and then look for a push towards. Look, it looks like a very clear way from 303 all the way up to 4. Doesn't look like there is some much resistance all the way up to 4. So I'll probably watch that, and then we'll see how it pans out. So I was watching this bull flag here, high volume on the pole, and then flag, but it broke below it, so that's weakness. So I'm just gonna stay on the sideline from it for now. So I just tried buying AMMJ on the break of 1. Here's my order, AMMJ on the break of 1, and I was literally sitting on the ask, because the ask was at 1, and I hit the ask, and it literally just sat there for a couple seconds, and it just didn't get filled, and then 1 got taken out, and it got pushed over to 101, and then 104. Now I don't know obviously how much it's gonna run from here, but I like break of 1 is usually a strong point. Does bring in some traders. It does get pushed over to 104. And as you guys can see on the ask, like, it doesn't look. It's, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not allowed to trade this. Maybe it's one of those weird stocks that I just can't trade or something. Cause like look at the ask. It goes 108, 110, 119, and then goes straight to 2. So I don't know if that's just the way it's showing up. I'm guessing it is a pink OTCB stock, or OTC stock. Sorry. So it might just be a little weird. Oh well. I didn't get filled at 1. Right over here, that's where I tried 1000 at 1, and I just didn't get filled. So I'll be watching it, see what happens. Maybe this goes to the resistance 117, and maybe it'll go there, right? Maybe it'll go to 150. I don't know. If it goes to 150, I'll be extremely upset. But yeah, we'll be watching it, see what happens here. Alright guys, so just watching for now. Nothing else seems to be working here. Now on INAP was my only play today. Down 68 on one play. After fees, I believe I'm down 80. Not the best thing to be, or not the best position to be in. But it's all right. I attempted to do the out of the halt, because most of the times they work. That's the funny thing. Most of the times, like when I'm not in it, it opens up and it just rips, and it, you get into a second halt, and then it goes to a third halt or whatever, right? This one just didn't pan out. I'll obviously be learning from this. Even if it opens a bit low, Usually, you know, it opens a bit low and then buyers start coming in and it gets pushed over, and that's what I was looking for here. But since we didn't get that, I ended up selling out. I believe it was what, 265. So yeah, right here, you know, it opened at 277. I sold at 265. The next candle does go test the high of day at 303, but then it fails again. So, and then this was a good entry here on this consolidation just below the 5 and 9 EMA as it consolidated and then it popped over. You know, also on the the second time I played was on this 5-minute setup. Wasn't as strong as you know, this one right here at 247 to 280. So the second 5-minute setup was stronger than the first one. I just you know, I figured that since it popped up this much and it came back down, the first 5 minutes to make a new high could be a potential run back up, but it wasn't. I had to kind of curl, I had to consolidate. I should have been looking on the 1 minute as well to see how much the consolidation has happened. You know, this one went from 940 to about 10, so about 40 minutes of consolidation before it popped over again. So need to keep certain things in mind. You know, how long has it consolidated, how high was the move, you know, after, outside of consolidation, what's the range, is it getting tight, or you know, if the range is still, you know, a bit loose. I mean, look right here, right, as it's consolidating, the range over here gets tighter and tighter and tighter, versus, you know, from 237 to a high of 250, you know, versus 238 to a high of 242. So the range gets tighter here and then it explodes. I need to keep that in mind. You know, me jumping in here was a pretty random, but I'm glad I jumped in with a smaller size. You know, I jumped in with the plan of, you know, getting in with a smaller size and then adding over 260. But you know, just didn't pan out, and I ended up with another small loss on that. This one was a bigger loss, this one was a small loss. Overall, I'm down $80 on the day. You know, and then I was watching this bull flag here. Looked like, you know, if it would have popped over, we could have tested, potentially run towards the high of day. So I was definitely looking to get in on this bull flag with my stop below this, and you know, an entry about 272 with my stop around 265, 264. And what I was looking for, again, I was going to go in with 200 shares and then look to add, preferably on the break of high of day, right? Look to add another 200 or 300 shares on the break of high of day, and then get a push towards 325 to 350. But oh well, what can you say? Didn't work out. It's another learning lesson for me. You know, there's these little mistakes I make that needs to be worked on. These little errors, these little, you know, sometimes I jump the gun, and you know, it has a lot to do with just me being on a red streak for I don't know, about 4 or 5 days, I believe it's been. I haven't had a green day, and I think I'm just kind of like jumping the gun, looking for that one good trade where, you know, I'll be up 50 cents or whatever, and you know, I can lock that in and you know, put some money towards my account, and I think that's definitely affecting my trading judgment. That's definitely, I'm not being patient. I mean, I am patient, you know, I'm not jumping into like these plays, but because I'm learned from that. But like me jumping in on out of the halt play, especially when it opened low, you know, like I said, sometimes they do open low and then they rip through the high of day and then they go higher. So that was my plan on that. So I'm not really regretting this, because usually I don't play out of the halt trade. So I'm kind of happy I took it. I see how it felt, you know, how fast it was, or whatever my you know, situation was. But other than that, I could have, for the second trade, you know, I should have waited. I felt like the second trade was the bad one. The first one was actually, you know, a pretty decent trade, just because I jumped in with an idea, and once I saw weakness, I just sold, right? I didn't hold, I didn't hope. I just got out. I was like, nope, you know, market's telling me differently. This one doesn't have strength. I'm gonna move out. And I'm not worried about the first loss. I'm worried about the second loss, because I felt like the second loss, I was just looking to make up for the first loss. I was like, okay, give me the first 5-minute high. Give me the first 5-minute high. I'm gonna jump in, and as soon as that happened, you know, I jumped in, and it didn't pan out again. So I need to be aware of that. I need to see how long the consolidation period being. I need to see if the range got tighter, and then if the range gets tighter and then it pops over, that's a good entry point. Then I need to just go a bit aggressive, and you know, then if I lose, I lose. But you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'll have a better chance if I wait for some sort of tight range breakout, or you know, explosion, versus just jumping in randomly or looking for a 5-minute setup. I mean, 5-minute setup could work, but I felt like this, looking back now, I see why it didn't work, because look, it came down from 3 all the way down to 240s, and then it makes a high. I mean, if this was around 260, 280, just above the VWAP, it comes down, or even, if the 9 moving average was closer, it taps it and then it makes a new high, potentially it could run. Potentially it does have play, right? But when it hasn't consolidated much, looking at the 1 minute, the range is not tight enough, then I need to be aware of that. So definitely for future references, if I see a stock do similar things, I would definitely watch the 1 minute and see how long the consolidation's been going for, and also if the range on 1 minute is getting tight. If it's getting tight and it pops over, I think that's a good entry. And then I can also get confirmation of that from a 5 minute, because see, it also made a 5 minute high with the range being tight, this one versus this one over here when the range was still pretty loose, and it hadn't consolidated, from here 940 to 950, so it was only a 10-minute consolidation versus a 40-minute consolidation. So need to keep all those perimeters in mind. There's a lot. See, that's the hard part about trading. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to experience before you become a successful trader. And although my account is getting demolished, I feel like my experience is coming there, because if you guys watch some of my earlier videos, and the losses I had was on plays like these, EYEG, and I'll tell you how I would lose before versus now. Before, what would happen is I'll be watching this, I wouldn't watch the 5 minute. As you guys can see on this, I had a very nice trend line set up on 5 minute. I was like, okay, look, it's making this triangle, I believe it's called symmetrical triangle, or not symmetric, ascending triangle, sorry. It's making this ascending triangle. If it breaks over 340, I'll look to jump in, because that means that the triangle is successful. It broke over 340, which was also, the pre-market support area. And once it's below that, it's been, it hasn't been over that. So if as it's moving up, it gets over 340, I'll look to jump in. But since it didn't do that, I stayed away from it. See, in the past, or in earlier, if you watch some of my videos, I have jumped in trades on the first candle just to look for the money maker, right? Look for that 30, 40, 50 cent morning spike. But I don't keep all these other things in consideration. I don't see how it's acting pre-market. I don't see how the stock's doing, what are the key levels, all that stuff. So I'm definitely getting better when it comes to that. I have learned to watch certain things before the market open, and then use them to my advantage. But when it comes to, for example, INAP, now I've learned today that, hey, if you want to jump in on a stock that had moved, a lot right out of the gates, or had made a major move and is pulling back, look for the consolidation range to get tight. Look for some sort of a setup where you feel comfortable getting in. Me getting in here or on the 5 minute setup, I need to keep both of these in consideration. They both move in sync. So if the 1 minute is not giving me a signal, but the 5 minute is, maybe it's not the right signal. Maybe I need to be aware of that. Maybe I need to just back up a little and be like, okay, this 5 minute setup is not working as well as I thought, just because the 1 minute, the range hasn't got tight enough. It hasn't consolidated much. Maybe I'll wait for the next 5 minute setup. Now let's look at the 10 minute chart, right? Maybe there was a better opportunity in 10 minute. So see, the 10 minute was a better opportunity. Reason being is because the first 10 minute candle to make a new high at 253, or 252, sorry, it went all the way up to 280, right? Or 279. So I mean, that was a much better opportunity to make me lock in 10, 20, 30 cents versus me getting in here on the 5 minute, on the first 5 minute setup after it had pulled back, but the 1 minute it wasn't ready. The 1 minute consolidation wasn't done. And those are the things I need to keep in mind. Those are the things I need to pay attention to. I need to look at if I want to be a technical trader, I need to learn these little tricks. I need to learn, okay, is it consolidating? Is the range on consolidating getting tight? How does it look on the 5 minute? Is it giving me a better opportunity on the second 5 minute setup, the second 5 minute candle to make a new high? Is that sync with 1 minute? I need to keep all of those things in mind, and there's a lot to know. And the reason, see, this would have been such a good trade just because I also saw the volume come in. So when I was looking to get in the 250s here on this push, The only reason I didn't because I already lost. I was already scared of taking a trade, taking another loss, because I already did it here. If I would have waited, I felt like, I would have been more aggressive, just because I would have been like, okay, you know what, I took this one trade, didn't pan out. Now I've waited, I've been patient, I waited for this consolidation. The 5-minute chart looks good, it pulled back to the 9 EMA. Now it's making a new high. Let's jump in. I probably would have jumped in with 40 shares or 400 shares or maybe 500 shares and look for this push right here. Now it's coming back up a little bit, but again on low volume, not looking to get in on it. I'm just gonna watch for now. I'm done trading for the day, no more trades for me, just because I'm already close to my max loss on the day. So I'm just gonna take that, and I'm not gonna add on to it right now, because obviously if I'm coming off 2 losses, I'm not gonna think with a clear head, and I'm gonna end up making another mistake. So thank you for watching, guys. If you guys made it this far, don't forget to subscribe. Usually towards the end of my videos, I'll have a good understanding of what I did with my day, and I'll kind of go in details about it. So I know that these videos are pretty long, but 30 minutes of your day, if you are interested in trading, I think at least you're not putting your hard-earned money, right? I'm putting my money on the line. I'm learning from it, and you guys watch. If you guys are watching this video, hopefully this makes sense to you. Maybe one day, down the road when you start trading, or if you're new like me, and you're trading, maybe you'll look for this, right? Because you'll be like, oh shit, Yusuf talked about one of his videos. Look for the consolidation range, and you know what? You look for it, and then maybe you'll get a 5-minute setup, and boom, you'll make some money. Because next time this happens, I know I'm gonna make money. That's for sure, because I'm gonna be watching it, and the only way I'm gonna make money if the play works, right? So, but if I stick to my rule of watching this consolidation and not just jumping the gun, if the plan works, it potentially will bring in more money than I lost today. So that's the goal on that, right? So thanks for watching today, guys. It's been a great learning lesson for me, and hopefully for you as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and the market's all red today. That's another sign. Just stay away from the markets for now. I'm gonna be reading this new book I got. It's called Trading in the Zone. I just got a few pages in, and I think it's amazing. I can't wait to just learn all of it, read it. Maybe I'll read it a couple of times before I have to return it. I don't buy books. I just get them from library. I'm a student. Got to save as much as I can so I can spend it towards trading. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.